Hello, good morning and welcome to beautiful St Moritz, high in the Swiss Alps. We're in the Engadin Valley at the home of ice sliding. And Saturday, a beautiful, clear, crisp morning, ready for the first of two heats, round 5 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. Good morning wherever you are, thank you for joining us. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. And John, another day in paradise with a sensational track to enjoy.
Well, 1,722 meters, the longest track on the planet. It's the oldest track on the planet. Yankee Stadium is the baseball. F1 and Monte Carlo go together. This bobsledding is St Moritz, the birthplace. Real tricky around this first curve. Then to a long section called wall. No mistakes allowed here. We saw a lot of mistakes there in Skeleton yesterday. Now, the exit of wall curve, we come into a two-corner combination, the snake. Now, these curves, these names were around over 100 years ago. Sunny. The next one coming up is a new one. It's named Nash and Dixon after the Olympic Games gold medalist in bobsledding, two-man in 1964, Tony Nash, Robin Dixon. Horseshoe, the most famous curve in the world, Telephone, Shamrock. And now listen to the sound of the sled. That's how it sounds. It's so quiet compared to the artificially cooled tracks where it's a loud rumble. Bridge, Gunter Sachs, and you're going to 85 miles an hour here. Portugal. The Martineau curve also. Martineau, founder of the St Moritz Bobsled Club in 1925. So that curve's named after him. And Martin, it's like we're privileged to be here doing this commentary.
Never feel anything other than privileged to be here. Air temperature -9. Well, it might be in the sunshine. It was -18 an hour ago. Ice -12.8. Very cold, very, very fast indeed. And the sleds in the cool of the morning, as you can see there, blowing on their hands to keep themselves warm. That was Christina Hengster of Austria. Final adjustments being made. Alana Myers-Taylor, last woman to win on this track. Only two previous winners in the field. Alana, who won last year. Kaylee Humphries there, who won the year before, 2 years before. And in 2013, the world champion on this track, of course. It's been a real happy hunting ground for Germans. Sandra Kiriasis, Kathleen Martini, Annie Schneiderheinz have all won here. Can Mariana Yamanka do the same? It's been a while since we've had a Swiss winner. Swiss girls are back though. Sabine Hafner is driving and has the track record this season. Also just saw Fabienne Meyer, another former Swiss driver. She's down here at the bottom of the track. We've got a big field, 20 sleds of women's two-man bobsleigh to get through. And joining the field for the first time this season, Katrin Beil of Austria. Sabine Hafner back after 5 seasons away from the ice. And we've also got a third Japanese team, so a whole new team to contend with there as well.
Never seen 3 Japanese teams, men or women, entered in the field.
Round 5 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup kicks off with Minami Homa and Natsumi Kawasaki of Japan. One former race on this track. They raced here in the Europa Cup. This is only their 3rd ever World Cup start. Japan hugely accelerating its women's program. This is the first of their 3 sleds in today's race.
13th in Altenburg, 19th last week in Winterberg. Down the first curve's tricky. Nice. Really smooth out of that first curve. 54 kilometers an hour. Keep your eyes on that.
Early in the run usually means the best ice on any track and a slight advantage. Here in St Moritz, because the day starts so cold, John, early in the run actually can be a disadvantage because the track is still frosty, gets polished up, gets faster as the day progresses.
Yeah, the sun comes up, puts that little moisture on the track. It's just the opposite of the artificially cooled tracks. You don't want to go first, you want to go last.
Around Horseshoe, you saw the horseshoe bar on the inside by the bus.
That'll be busy today.
105 kilometers an hour top speed.
108 kilometers an hour.
And she's getting to the quick part of the track, the speed out of Gunter Sachs into the Martineau curve, into Portago. This is the fastest the women travel. Anybody come down the track here, and that's 86 miles an hour. Here's Hans Wimmer, coach.
That was a neat-looking run from Minami Homma.
Very much.
Now, one of the advantages of the track, the ice being so cold, is you don't have to use fat runners. The wider the runners, up to 6 mil wide, they have greater speed because they spread the weight. You can get away with a sharper runner here.
Now, the guy who originally builds this track was sick this year, and so the track didn't get built exactly, never does, but the first curve is the real problem.
Yeah.
And she got through there okay.
She took a nice steer on early and got through without any big skids. Next up, Anja Greco of Romania with Olivia Wild behind her. This is her first drive here. She did Europa Cup in January last season. 2 World Cup starts, 11th in Lake Placid, 16th in Winterberg.
Explosion, in, down, look at the well technique, the brakeman is there. There's our first, it won't be our last, little exit of 1 problem. 53.7, so she's quite a bit down in speed already to the Japanese.
Very much a brand new driver, only 2 World Cup starts, only a couple of Europa Cup races as well, and half the season this year she's been braking for her teammate.
But her start time was 1200s better than the Japanese, so she's using that acceleration to advance.
Well, the Romanian's doing what everybody else is doing. High into the woodwork, gets a good exit though from Horseshoe. Taking a brake woman, putting them in the front of the sled, teaching them how to drive. That's the way forward.
This is a great place to teach them how. It's right to the 100th of a second.
High there, out of Sachs. Oh, into Sachs.
Now the straightaway into Martineau. 200's back, speed's going to be important.
She's a couple of miles an hour too slow and clatters the wall just 500s behind. Paul Niago on the right, who heads up this Romanian operation.
Well, she won by 1200 to the top, and with numerous mistakes down below, she only finishes 500s behind, which, that's not bad.
Yeah. And Andrea Greco doesn't get a chance to concentrate on driving all season.
Up on the roof. That's not a song. That's Horseshoe. And
if you can get away with it, that's a good line.
Yeah,
and she got the exit, didn't she?
She dove out of there, crossed over into the telephone.
Well, she shakes her head. Those high-speed mistakes down at the bottom cost her a chance to lead. Our second Japanese sled is Maria Oshigiri. She's got Arisa Kimishima behind her. 3rd World Cup start for Maria as well. She's done 1 previous race here in Europa Cup.
First time for the brakeman. She came in for the headshot yesterday.
So Arisa Kimishima makes her World Cup debut on the back handles. This sled rented from Billy Meyerhans of Switzerland. Meyerhans is 4 running here.
Oh,
track start record for the season.
Now, wait a minute. Now, just think of that. These are 2 small, diminutive Japanese girls, and even though it's a Swiss start record we're dealing with, or Europa Cup, look at the start she just got. Wow. Brakeman might be adding something to the mix here.
It looks like it.
Real rattle in this sled.
Well, that's the noise of the Citius. No, that's not the Citius, is it? It looks like a BTC.
Oh, watch out. Oh, she came out there a little too late. She got 7/10 of a lead.
Wow. Nice looking drive from Oshigiri. Couple of little taps. You're hardly going to get away here as a rookie driver. 8/10 in front of her teammate Minami Homma.
We're talking one of our first track records, maybe?
Top speed, 65 miles an hour, right where Homma was. Just a little behind. Homma had 86.
She might have a track record here.
Yes, she could well do. She's going to be nearly a second clear of the line.
109.13.
108.13. No, 109.13. So she's tied
the track record.
record.
Tied the track record. Wow.
Well, the track record is established new every year because this track is handmade. Oh, they love that. Listen to the joy there. So 1:09.13 track record will be blown away before the end of this race. It was set in January, on January the 13th, a week ago.
Well, they did it right. Everything.
Japan leads, Japan second, Japan up next. Kanomi Asazu and Mutumi Sakauchi.
This is some World Cup debut for both of these athletes. And the driver, she's almost 5'11", she's a tall girl.
Well, she's raced here before for Manami Himo in 2010. She was a brakewoman. And for Oshigiri, she raced in the Europa Cup here in 2016 as a brakewoman. So she's only just converted to driving. She was fourth here last week in the Europa Cup race.
.4600s back. Sensational run her teammate just had.
So this might be the first time we've seen a Japanese brakewoman become a driver in bobsleigh. This again is a smooth-looking run. She's 6/10 back, but at the moment in second spot. We're going to have a Japanese 1, 2, 3 if she continues in this vein.
It's great for Japanese bobsledding right here.
Well, it's great to have anybody in the women's competition to have 3 sleds. That's amazing.
They made a commitment, and he says there's a good commitment to the men's program. They're on the Europa Cup and America's Cup. Hans Wimmer on the left, the leader of the pack. Good, he likes it.
Yeah. Now he wants some snow to come down to keep the Japanese girls in the lead, but that's not happening out of these cloudless skies.
World Cup debut for this Asu.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not small. She was very tall, good-looking athlete. You could look at her stand up. This is the little nemesis of that curve one, and that's worth a lot.
Yeah, it might be worth a full 1/10 of a second.
Here, a little late, flops off. You saw the helmet slap left to right. This is into Sonny. That was on the exit of Nash, or excuse me, of the Snake.
For Romania, Maria Constantin, 13th in last year's race here in St Moritz, 16th the year before, 18th the year before that.
Well, she's definitely the most experienced driver that's come down so far, and
got Erika Halle behind her, her second-string brakewoman. Her first-string brakewoman, Andrea Grecu, is already down the track in her sled. So Maria Constantin, third fastest start.
8th in Altenburg so far this season. Her best result might have been a personal best, but she's way back. 1600s at the start back, and then 4000s. At the second timing, and the exit here of horseshoes, her only chance to be perfect, and she's still bleeding time. 105.4 though.
65.5, that's the top speed so far.
So she might eat back into a car. Here she comes. She might get it down to the 20s, and she might challenge for second. But
don't forget the Japanese sled had a little bit of a wobble through Leap Bridge, Gunter Sachs.
Down to
so
30.
Down to 3/10, will be close. She's only
chance.
creeping
She's second now. 27 hundredths back. Good consideration that she got beat by 1600ths at the start, and she posted top speed all the way down. But Oshigira from Japan has got the best time for the first 5 sleds, and you know, another little winning exploit for the chink curve. You know, it's going to get a lot of sleds. It's going to be interesting to see how those 4-mans get through there. Nice lines here into the Martineau curve down below the high-speed part of the track.
Oshigiri of Japan, our leader. First 5 sleds down. Heat 1 of the Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. 6th starter this morning in St Moritz is Alexandra Rodionova. 5th I beg your pardon, 8th in this race. Can't read my own writing last year. 11th in 2015. A former Olympic luger, Victoria Tokovaya in the back in the white hat. She's raced on this track many times as a Russian driver.
Should challenge the best start. Should have, ooh, but she got through there nice. Boy, it's 570 though.
Her brakewoman on the back, Anastasia Kochetsova. She's new to the program this year, yet has started every heat.
Didn't have very good start velocity either. They had the second best start time, but only the 4th best velocity. That's related to the telemetry in the sled, kicking up the speed trap at the exit of curve 1.
Maria Oshigiri of Japan, our leader, as she comes to Nash and Dixon. Rodionova heading down to Horseshoe, gets tapped away. Lowish line. Good exit though, nice and clean.
Down to 14, and the best speed, 105.4. That's pretty much like the previous Japanese sled that came down. And she's got it down to 6, and this is what you would expect out of the Russian sleds. She's ranked 5th in World Cup points and seems to be getting better every weekend. Both Russian sleds. This will be a track record.
Ooh. She's not going to be far ahead, but it is a brand new track record, 108.97.
140. Jeez, that's 87.2 miles an hour. 4-mans will be going over 90 easy.
Yep. Especially as the day progresses and a little bit of a slick sheen comes on the track. And then the speeds really fly down the bottom. Alexandra Rodionova, one of the tracks she'll know least well as a luge athlete. They've only started coming here very recently in luge.
In, down, and beware of the first curve. Look at the skid. They got a skid going out of the start grooves. And down here, she could not sneak through between Martineau and Portago.
That little wooden paneling, that's the bridge over the Cresta run, which passes underneath the Bob run there. For Austria, Christina Hengster and Sanna Decker. 4th fastest in the final day of training, Christina Hengster. 7th last year, her best in 2012, 6th in St Moritz.
Well, didn't get through there. Second best start. Speed, though. Second best speed, so she got through the first curve without damage. And if I was a betting man, I would bet that this is the leader at the bottom part of the track. Although she says she does not enjoy St Moritz, loves the track, she just doesn't enjoy her results. And you know, this could be a sled built for the short tracks. I mean, this is a super speedway like a Talladega or a Daytona. And as evidenced by the 87-mile-an-hour speeds we just saw, as fast as the women will ever go during the season. And she's 2700ths in the lead, and she could crack 88 miles an hour down here. 86.3, not as good as the Russian speed. Into the fog, track record, 4/10 expected. I take that back, 87.6 miles an hour. She did top the Russian speed in the last clock. Well, Christina, we expected you to be in the leader spots, and you are.
See the name of the sled, Betsy the Beast.
Well, Betsy got up a little high. Look at the rudder tips. Look at her pointing down. Look at her eyes above the cowling. Now she wants to exit at a telephone. The reason they call it telephone, look at these beautiful pictures. There used to be a telephone there 100 years ago to call and say, hey, don't start a sled, we just crashed down here.
Last year's race winner, Alana Myers-Taylor, with Brianna Jones on the back of the sled, not Kerry Jones this weekend.
Anybody they put back there is going to have the best start time in the competition.
Won here last year with Lauren Gibbs behind her. Gibbs will race today as well, but not with Alana.
Well,
always a good thing, I think,
40s?
Tom,
This could be in the 40s, this start time.
to rotate the brake women, keep everybody race fresh, keep everybody prepped. 5:53
track record, but she owns a lot of the track records. And the speed, 55, which is 34.2 miles an hour. And no one's got to that mark. And right now, this is Alana's race heat to lose. she's got everything she needs to go fast. And the only albatross is going to be the exit of Horseshoe. Nash and Dixon. Now, the most famous curve in the world. Beautiful. 2,800's up. Should have been more than that. Speed 107.3. That's great speed, though. She should be accelerating away, but she's not. Staying in the same quarter of a second she had up in Sunny. See what she can do down here. If she can get into that 87 miles an hour. 86.2. She's losing time back all the way. It should be in the teens. 16. So she was 87.6. Same speed as Hengster. 88 miles an hour. I take that back.
Yeah.
So
updates itself at the end of the speed trap as they come through the line.
The second time. Yeah. But that's a little confusing because I thought she's losing time all the way back to Hengster. From the top where she was up a quarter of a second. That looks like maybe a little bit too early on.
Second of our US sleds is flying instructor Brittany Reinbold. And she's got another Jones, Lolo Jones, on the back of the sled. Went all the way through training and starting the race with Brittany. Brittany has never driven here before this week.
Let's watch the track and field hurdler, Lolo Jones. Let's watch her feet, because the way she runs, watch how low her feet are. Look at her feet. Look, she barely gets her toes above the ground. And I asked her about that. She said, well, that's the way you get taught to be a hurdler. And finishing fourth in London, she's a hurdler.
Nice first corner from Brittany Reinbold.
Not bad.
This is her 8th World Cup start. Best is 4th in Lake Placid in December.
In Lolo's defense, she had the 4th best start time, but they had the 3rd best velocity out of curve 1. Snake, pretty good. But she's 4/10 back, a lot to her teammate. And she was 1,600s back at the start. Uh-oh, first big hit we've seen on the exit of Horseshoe, and that's like throwing out a parachute. It's where you want a slingshot to the bottom part of the track.
Well, Brittany's been on the World Cup program this season, so unlike the Japanese, she didn't come here last week for Europa Cup. So this is her first ever week on the ice in St Moritz. There's a lot to learn.
She hit 3 times so far, all 3 hits hard.
Still a top 5 run from Brittany Reinbold, 109.21. And the track record set here in the Swiss Championships in December by Sabina Hafner, who knows this track well and has a lot more driving experience. Brittany Reinbold just a couple of hundreds away from that.
Well, here's her first mistake. Her exit too early. Watch the big crash on the right. I mean, that's just throwing out a parachute in the speed part of the track. Down here, it didn't help either. Bang. Those aren't light hits. Look at the skid it causes, too.
Alana Mar-Taylor leads for the USA as we get to our 10 starter. Germany have got a fabulous winning history here in the last decade. Only Alana Mar-Taylor and Kaylee Humphries have won as non-German drivers. This is Mariama Yamanka.
Watch this.
Fastest of all in final training, John.
Watch the start time, too. Although the push bar is still up. There's the track record. Push bar still up. This is going to be, there it comes down. She waits nicely until it doesn't come down on the wall. And the huge, unbelievable start velocity, which is what she did last week in Winterberg, too. I think.
Well, she's got Annika Draxler behind her, and that is what's going to fire up. Last German to win on this track, Anja Schneider-Heinze, 2 seasons ago with Annika Draxler on the back handles.
Exit. Perfect. Dead heat, though. I think she lost a little time up top. Wall. Ooh, that's not going to help. Still green numbers there, though.
Only one race ever on this track before. That was last season. She was 10th place.
Let's see what this Walter sled can do down here in the bottom. Is it a Walter or an FES?
FES, she still has the lead.
Down to 100 speed.
100th behind. This is very close with last year's winner, Alana Myers-Taylor. 800ths behind. You'll take that every day of the week if you're Renault Speeds.
87.6, so she did not have the speed the American or the Austrian sleds had in the finish. Dropped a little time. Tap up there, I would say up there in bridge.
5:48 though, a start record.
But the start velocity, that's what was impressive to me.
And that's what Dratec brings.
And look at this thing is, wait, I'm gonna go, wait, she can't, she has to wait for the sled to get over to the right. So she definitely,
she's hitting the lever, going, get in.
Yeah, but she didn't want to do it and it hits the top of the wall.
Exactly.
So she might have, you know, she could have just been lucky there, but what a 2 weeks she's had.
Yep. Alana Myers-Taylor the leader, Mariami Yamanka in second, Christina Hengster lies third, ahead of Alexandra Rodionova and Maria Oshigiri. 10 down, 10 to come, and the first of our Belgian sleds, Elfje Willemsen, second fastest in the final day of training, 5th last year and the season before. She's done half a dozen races here in her career.
She just doesn't like, she loves the track, doesn't love her results, just can't, her sleds just don't go fast here.
Well, the BTC sled should be pretty quick. We saw Christina Hengsters get her up into 3rd place.
Nice job by her brakeman. For the start velocity, look at the eyes. What great camera work.
Elfie is celebrating her birthday last week in Winterberg and this week in St Moritz somehow. I'm not quite sure where that works.
Must be a Belgian thing.
I think she says I can have a birthday any week I like. Fair enough. Down into Horseshoe.
Ooh, nice
good height, good exit. Now
83, she's holding in. 106.5. That's 66. That's pretty
we've seen 107, nearly 108 kilometers an hour.
Top speed. Let's see what she can do here.
Nice lines.
Back. 88 miles an hour, 85.7 it's saying there, and then it finishes up 87.3.
Not bad at all, 4th place run from Elfie Willemsen.
Well, when you consider she's 1800s down at the start, and she only loses by 39. 38, that's pretty good.
But 0.3 of a second slower than Mariami Yamanka of Germany just came down. Elfie liked it on the back, liking that. Big smile you can see on Elfie's face.
Look at her get up near the lip and then dive out. And we like to say in a lot of tracks, slingshot yourself to the bottom, which is, that's where you do it. You accelerate out of there, down a telephone.
Elfie Willemsen of Belgium in 4th place. Now is her teammate Anne van Nieuwenhuizen. 3rd fastest in the final training. 14th here last year, her only race in the front seat. She's raced here as a brakewoman before for Belgium.
Well, they're going to struggle at the start here. The second entry of the Belgian Bullets. See how she gets around here. Takes up a lot of the curve and comes down and taps. And the 6th best start time's not that bad. The 3rd best velocity is great.
Anne has been at great pains to get us not to say that she's only 5'2" and the shortest woman in the field.
That's you saying that.
That's you. She claims to be 5'6" through Snake with a little wobble.
Yeah, took too much of the first of the Snake curves. She's maintaining her status. No, she's not 6th to 8th. She takes the same line as her teammate.
And gets a great exit as well.
Oh,
let's see if the gap comes down.
Exit of Shamrock, she had a little bang.
Less disadvantageous at this point of the track. 5,800, so she stopped losing time. Here we go. Top speed of the last trap, 67. She had 66.3 miles an hour. And
6th.
as we come to the line, Little bit of speed in the final corner.
Big hit, she ducks her head. She hits up to the fourth best speed, gets into the 6th spot, and she's only 700ths behind Rodanova from Russia. Well back of her teammate, even though she started better than her teammate. That big mistake she made up there, hard hit. And I think that drift out of the first curve didn't help. Look at the sled comes out of those grooves pretty early. And you got to get in, get settled down, and she comes around here. Watch this drift. Oh, this is down the horseshoe. I think that's perfect. High line, it's a dangerous line up there, but if you can get it right, look at the way the sled transitions on a telephone.
2 wins in St Moritz, including the 2013 World Championship for Kaylee Humphries. Melissa Lochtholz on the sled with her.
Boy, look at Melissa get in, get down so quick, and Humphries comes around here with the 2nd best start. Watch the speed, velocity. 2nd best velocity, also 55.1, even beating the Americans.
She's won twice here with 2 different break women, Chelsea Valois and Heather Moyse.
She outstarted Myers-Taylor-Jones. When she outstarts Myers-Taylor, I got to give Kaylee Humphries the chance.
Kaylee Humphries won race 1 in the series, race 3 in the season. This is now race 5. Is she going to keep the pattern alive?
Well, the 100th back, speed on the left, 106.7, 66. That's pretty good.
Well, if you're looking for a potential winner, you've got to perm Myers-Taylor and Humphries.
Here comes Humphries right to the 100th. Good lines down here. She'll have the best speed. She'll pick up a 10th down here. Their talent. She posts the best speed here. She'll be out beyond a 10th. There it is, 600ths. And she has 87.9 speed, 2nd best speed.
88 miles an hour top speed. And that was from Alana Myers-Taylor. About 600ths of a second separate them. 1400ths covering the top 3, including Germany's Mariama Yamanka. So you must throw her into the mix as well.
Absolutely.
Well, Kaylee off a 5th place last week.
Not as high there in the exit. Look at the...
Yeah, but clean as a whistle, and carrying that speed is
Look
so
at the transition
important.
onto the telephone curve.
Kaylee Humphries with the lead now. Nadezhda Sergeyeva and Yulia Shoksheva. 15th and 13th here in the last 2 years.
Yeah, but this is 4th place in World Cup points. And she has been coming on, including a 5th, a 9th, and her personal best 4th last week, but she gets eaten alive by the first curve. 8th best speed, and she is really gonna have a challenge to get in the top 5 the rest of the way down.
Sevga raced here as a brake woman as well, behind Victoria Tokovaya for a couple of seasons.
She just beat Myers-Taylor and Jones at the start for the 2nd best start too.
Tied Kaylee Humphries, 5:52.
That's impressive. This is what the Russian sleds had lacked is starts. They got start times now, and they got good equipment. Oh, but she hits the lip. And she's only 14 back. Oh, she made a mistake there in the exit of Shamrock.
Speed a fraction away, 65.8 compared to 67 miles an hour of top speed.
It's pretty good though. Oh, she really got up there.
Challenging for a top 3 finish.
Bang. Gonna be late here too.
Career best 4th place in Winterberg last time out. And that's a 5th place run. She's on a bit of a roll at the moment, Sergeyeva.
Considering the mistakes she made in curve 1, the hit of the lip in horseshoe, and then a couple hits really high down in bridge. Sled got way high, up almost in the frost.
Yeah.
But she's on track. She's got start times. Up here, you come in late. And when you come in late, you get up there to the top. And that's frosty up there, too. And, boy, but the sled, not a lot of variance.
I wonder what her brake woman thought when she felt that tap.
And look at the transition.
So, Nadezhda Sergeyeva Gets it down into 5th position, and again, she might have a shout at her first World Cup medal. Chance then for Jamie Grubel-Poser. Medalist on this track 2 years ago with Sherelle Garrett. They took the bronze. And today she has Lauren Gibbs behind her. Sherelle is back though. She came in for her headshots this week.
Ooh, hard hit there. 53, 4th best start speed, 4th best velocity at a curve 1.
Starting just 100th slower than Kaylee Humphries, who has the lead. So from there, anything is possible.
Well, a clean drive to horseshoe. Oh, that looked like a lot of the snake she took. First part of the snake crossed over to the second one. I want to try and stay a little lower in those curves if possible, without steering.
Jamie and Lauren starting 5:53, exactly the same as Alana Myers-Taylor and Brianna Jones.
She's going to have, she does have the best speed. 107.4 first person, but that hit around Shamrock.
In the lead, 200s in the lead over double Olympic champion Kaylee Humphries. Great run from Jamie Grubel-Poser.
If she keeps it straight down here, she will have big speed and take the lead. Oh, it's only 100th
of a second, but there might be a lead and a new track record for Jamie Grubel-Poser across the line.
No, lost some time.
300s behind.
That bang up there, that bang up there around Bridge cost her. Or up Shamrock, I think it was. It was a hard bang. Still a good run.
I mean, she still had the lead. Something drifted away in the final couple of corners. Maybe she just had a smidgen more steering than she wanted. But what a run. 2nd place for Jamie Grubel-Poser.
Well, here, that's the hardest hit we've seen going into that chick curve.
Didn't hit the wall, just rode
straight,
the berm. And
right here, though.
good.
That right here. Watch her come out late. You can see that's where the high-speed part of the track down near Bridge. And you saw the articulation, the sled split a little bit. So she lost a little bit there, but she's in the hunt.
15 of our 20 sleds down. North American podium at the moment. Humphries, Grubel-Poser, Myers-Taylor. Next up for Great Britain, Misha McNeil, 11th. Last year, 12th the year before. 10th fastest in final training for the Youth Olympic silver medalist.
How about her brakeman, huh?
Yeah, Montel Douglas, 4x100 relay team in Athens, Team Great Britain. Going to the Junior Worlds next week, so we won't see them in Koenigsegg this time around. She'll be trying to add to her 2012 bronze medal.
No one sits in a sled lower to speak for Manil.
She looks like she's leaning so far back as well, doesn't she? 11th place off an 8th fastest start.
That horseshoe, he gets out. Boy, looked a little different.
Up to 10th place on the splits. Only a couple of races on this track in her career. 4800s up to 8th position. This is going nicely now for Misha McNeil.
She did well in training at the bottom part of the track. Ate into the deficit every time.
Little skid down the straight. Ooh, she hold it in the top 8. 8th of the line, ahead of Alexandra Rodionova and only just behind Elfia Willemsen. Pete Gunn, the coach, looks very happy with that. Tenth fastest on the final day of training, her best run, so she's improved again coming in to race day. All quiet on the Western Front. Great woman holding the sled on the brakes dug into the ice.
Looking for some help
to get out. Yep.
Where's their help? Are they getting boycotted?
Montel Douglas from Lewisham in southwest London.
Good-looking athlete.
Well, met another Londoner yesterday in the form of the new world heavyweight champion, Anthony Joshua, who is in town for the races. This is Kristen Zenkel, former multiple medal winner on this track. Silver with Sandra Kiriasis 7 years ago. Silver with Annie Schneider-Heinze 6 years ago. Silver 3 years ago with Kathleen Martini. Now she's trying to get the medals as a driver.
Not bad. The tallest, too, in the competition. The driver, I think, is definitely the tallest, and the brakeman She's been around. Miss Bertel's been around a long time.
Franziska has more medals on this track as a brake woman than Kristen Zenkel, but Zenkel has won a silver medal in the last 7 years with all 3 German drivers, Kiriassi, Schneider, Heinze and Martini.
Tap, not good before Nash and Dixon. Wrong side of the straightaway, drifts over, hits the take-on. That causes some extra steering, and that's why she hit on the exit of Horseshoe. But she's fast.
Like Brittany Reinbold to the USA, she's never driven on this track before, though she's been here maybe half a dozen times more.
Listen, we've been very critical, and this is her first World Cup here as a driver.
Top 5.
Top 5.
I'm not being critical at all. I think she's doing a superb job. Right? That might relegate her maybe to 6th, 7th, maybe even 8th at the line, but all the same, first ever drive,
great
6th
stuff.
place.
140 kilometers, which is 87.5. Not the speed the top sleds get, but consideration she's in a World Cup debut on this track capacity. That's pretty good.
Well, not just a World Cup, a first ever drive. She's been down lots with her head between her knees in the back. She's never had a view of the track before.
Well, up top here, try to set yourself up. You want to be in the left side. She's on the right, so she taps. Now she comes over and too abruptly hits the take-on. Now the sled pushes into the middle, and on the exit, that mistake she made up there where we just showed, that cost her on the exit of Horseshoe.
And that's all the experience that she's lacking, isn't it? And that is all she's lacking, because physically she's got it, she's got the backup, she just needs to learn the tracks. Well, somebody who doesn't need to learn the tracks is twin Sabina Hafner, and she's got a pair of twins as her brake women. Sabina returning to the World Cup after 5 years away studying.
Going to struggle to start, she said, but boy, the joy she brought to our table when she came in and described driving the Altenburg Kreisel to us. Her nickname's the Firecracker. I used to call her that because she was an electrician. She said, no, that was then. What do you think I've done the last 5 years? She's now she's an electrical engineer.
Yep.
And her twin is a doctor. And, you know, we got quite a bit out of her the 10 minutes she spent with us.
Non-identical twins, the Hafners, and 2 brake women who are identical twins, although one's blonde and one's brunette, so not that identical at the moment.
Okay, 6,500's back, she's 14th. She's going to need to really show her number of times down she had in December and January here. 7,300's back, still at 14th.
Won in the Europa Cup last week in St Moritz, won the Junior Worlds in 2010 in St Moritz.
She's going late, she just doesn't have it.
Best World Cup result, 6th place here in 2010.
Some of the worst speed we've seen, 14th place, very surprised at that. Thought she'd be better than that.
Well, she is definitely race rusty. City sled might not quite have the runners on that she really wanted either. But good to have Switzerland back in women's bobsledding, and she is fun to be around as well. Teaches us a lot.
I still have one of her scarves from 6 years ago with the firecracker on it. She said, you know, we're going to give up some time at the start. And the brakeman's hands, did you see that? The brakeman's right hand did not have a good transition.
Again, that's all the training, isn't it? You know, that's the summer training that they haven't had to get the hit together.
Yeah, she's perplexed. How can I be that slow? Runners.
Well, and the hit wasn't great either, but Sabina Hafner, good to have you back. 3 sleds from Japan, 3 sleds from the USA, 3 sleds, 2 from Belgium. This is their 3rd. Yen de Decker, Nell Polison. They've been in the program for a few years now. Nell done a lot of braking. 2nd ever World Cup start for Yen. And she has never driven here in her life. She's the 3rd driver in this race who's never been on the track before this week. Not in the front, anyway. 585.
Not, in fact, it's the worst start of the field.
588 is the
worst, yeah. So she's,
yeah.
But Belgian bullets, one of the 3. And every time we see them, they come out, they have great lines.
Well, as with Andrew Greco of Romania, the Japanese girls You know, it's about learning. Brittany Reinbold as well, new to this track. It's about learning. It's about experience. Big hit there into
Almost
telephone.
crashed. Almost crashed. She's still got issues from the exit of Horseshoe, which she didn't nail, and the mistake compounded down the track. 2 more corners. Ooh, look at her dive out of that bridge curve. Got to Sachs. Now the straightaway into Martineau. These names of these curves have been around 100 years. Tradition on this track. 16th. Well, you make all those mistakes.
Yep. Well, you've never driven here before. You're going to make all those mistakes. There's no easy way of learning. It takes time and practice. Long way up the finish straight. On the brakes, Nell Paulison almost ran out of ice there.
Look at the ice too, the ice walls.
Yeah.
Just the way they sculpture this track is so spectacular. Okay, she comes down, pulls out too early. And the mistake was made above this, but this is pretty hard hit right there. Look at it. Oh, the back end of the sled's up.
Yeah, she was out of the seat as well. You saw her head really rise there. Big hit, but she's down safely in 16th place out of our 19 sleds. And the final one, again, is a driver we haven't seen for a while. Welcome back, Austria's Katrin Beil. She's got Valerie Kleiser behind her.
The sled with that foot injury. She
yep. 7th last week here in the Europa Cup.
And she's got a little personality.
She's only raced here 3 times in her career as well. This is only her 5th ever World Cup start.
Says she's got to get some points. Sitting the sleds better. She said she might be able to run by the time to get to Innsbruck in 2 weeks.
I like the little moustache there on the nose of the Austrian sled.
The Austrians program is probably one of the average programs that's on the way up. With Benny Meyer, what he's been doing. Of course, Janine Flock medaled again and yesterday. And they got a couple sleds now in the women's program.
Christina Hengsterlein 3rd in World Cup standings, bronze medalist in Altenburg, silver in Whistler. So Hengster's having a good season. Hengsterlein 5th at the moment. And if Katrin Beil is anything other than 20th after sitting in at the start, that will be amazing. Listen to the sled whistle, though.
It's pretty tough to overcome that start deficiency. But she's got it flying at the bottom, and that's a pretty good line.
Very different audio signature on this sled to some of the others.
She could get in the top 20.
She is in the top 20 because there are 20 sleds. 1:10.35. Well, she's in, and if she has a safe trip down, she will earn herself her first World Cup points of the season.
She has.
Yeah. She hasn't yet.
Not yet, not yet. Okay, I don't want to jinx her.
Don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, she's got that, she explained to me, bone in the foot that hurt at training.
Well,
she can get around, she just can't sprint.
Bit of that in the women's skeleton as well. Kimberly Boss really whacked her ankle badly on the second day of training, had to be carried away from the track. Kaylee Humphries, Melissa Lottholtz of Canada, leading after the first of our 2 heats, round 5 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup in stunning St Moritz. The world champion on this track in 2013, a winner in 2014. It's been 2 years since she won. Can she come back and claim her 3rd gold medal of the season?
And what's most interesting, Martin, as we look at the results, look at the top 5 sleds. Look at Senkel.
Senkel's not far away
either.
Yeah.
That's a great result for her. Top 5 sleds, any one of them can be.
And then 7th, 8th, 9th, 700ths of a second covering those 3. Again, further back, Reinbold, Hafner, 300ths apart. Not far away from Oshigiri. A 10th of a second on this track can come and go just as easily as anywhere else. So all 20 sleds are safely down. They go in reverse order, and that means Katrin Beil, instead of being last off, will be first off in Heat 2. Join us for all the action. It comes up at 09:30 GMT, 10:30 local, wherever you are. Please be with us. For John Morgan, I'm Martin Haven. We'll see you then. Bye for now.